Hey, everybody, welcome back to episode 12 of Paranormal Watchtower with your friend Brandon and Ray. We have something new and interesting tonight you might like. You might not, but you might. We got some pretty cool stuff to talk about as far as creepy, ghostly, paranormal, all your favorite things. And then I would like y'all to join me in playing a game that I came up with called Who Said It? But we're going to save
Who
that
said
till later.
Who said it?
Who said it? How you
Who
doing,
said
Ray?
it?
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I just got home from building a fence over at Tina's house. I'm a little sunburned. You can probably tell in the screen. But I feel good. Feel good for getting something done. So that's always a plus.
Finding out age isn't just a number.
Yeah, it's way more than just a number. Yeah, I suppose when it gets to this age, then
I'm just
But anyway,
impressed that you're getting as far as you did.
18 holes in one day. Not bad. Not bad. Well, for a guy in his 20s, that would
I mean,
that wouldn't even,
it's pretty
you
bad.
know.
But for a guy in his 80s, that's fucking awesome.
85. 85.
85.
Yep, 85.
All
Just
right.
turned last October.
Oh, nice. Happy
Yeah,
late birthday or early
thank you.
birthday.
Either way, thank you.
Either way. So,
Yeah.
you got
So,
something for us to start out with?
yeah, I got a kind of a funny story. So I'm doing the fence today, and I got one of my guys that works for me in the moving company came over and he was helping me do it. And then the nosy neighbor, she's the gossip of the neighborhood over there.
Right.
She's nice, super nice lady, super nice. But she comes over and she's talking, and she's one of those neighbors that will tell you 15 stories, and you might listen to half of one of them, but you smile and nod. Anyway, she started talking, and all I heard was uh cemetery, gravestone, plot selling or something, and lawyers. And I'm like, wait, what? I should pay attention to this. What the hell is she talking about? I made her repeat it. I made her repeat the story. I'm like,
I
wait a minute.
mean, that's a
This sounds,
mixture of stuff.
yeah, I'm like, this sounds like something I'd be interested in. Please tell me again. So here's the story. This started back in the 1800s. There's a family who has a giant 6-foot uh stone for a grave at their grave site. They've got 3 names left on the stone, right? And the 3 people aren't dead yet, right? There's like, I don't know, I forget the detail, but it's 2 sisters and a brother that are supposed to be buried in those spots.
Just waiting for him.
Right. So here's what happened. The son died in war. And instead of being buried in that plot, apparently he's buried in a military graveyard.
All right.
Which, okay, that makes sense. So the sister, desperate for money, decides to sell her brother's grave to her friend. So this friend pays her the money to be buried with her and her brother, or whatever, her sister, I'm sorry, her and her sister. And and the lady goes to the memorial place where they put the names on the headstones and stuff, and they write the messages. And the boss was gone. So one of the guys that was there, that she talked him into putting her name on the gravestone, crossing someone off and putting her name on. I don't know
Just put
how
like
they
a big X through it.
that's what I asked her. I said, "Well, what did they do? Put an X and say JK and then put their name on it? Like, what did they do?" And she
Right.
didn't know. She didn't know exactly. She said they fill it with something and then re-etch it, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, come to find out, when the sister of the girl that sold the plot, the sister found out that she sold it to a friend, got super pissed off. Not to mention, this is highly illegal. You can't do that.
You can't sell your grave.
Not when it's a 3 deal and those 3 people are there and your names are already on
I didn't
thing.
know that.
Apparently that's illegal. You can't do that. There's lawyers involved. The sister's really pissed. And she got her lawyer involved, and now apparently she cannot have that plot. She cannot have that grave. So now
The
they have
friend
an
or the
empty.
sister?
The
Okay.
sister is still there. Her name's still on it. Whatever. So it's the two sisters, and it was supposed to be the two sisters and the brother, but the brother's not there. So they don't know what they're going to do with the empty grave, but they're going to put, for now, a blank plaque, and glue it over the girl's name that she had etched in. So it'll say so and so, and blank. And it'll have a big plaque that says nothing.
So sister number two obviously did not like the friend,
Right, right.
is what I'm getting from
Apparently,
this.
well, not enough to want to be buried with her forever, for
I
infinity.
mean, I know, but her brother's buried somewhere already. Like there's a spot open.
But I mean, it's a hell of a way to make a buck, you know.
Yeah, maybe your sister was mad she didn't split the money with her.
Oh, and there's more. I forgot to
There's
mention
more?
this. Yes, there's more. Apparently, she paid the friend, paid the sister for the plot. And then once the lawyer said, no, you can't do that, and this was like a proceedings and stuff happened, and they ruled that she couldn't have it. The lady who got paid said, no, she never paid me nothing. I never received nothing for it.
Oh, damn, no
Um,
refunds.
yeah, right. I'm like, oh, I guess they weren't that close of friends.
That, like, if you're gonna be buried by somebody, you'd think that'd be like your sister or something, like that tight of a friendship. You know what I mean?
And yeah, and it happened like this cemetery that all this went down in is, I mean, I've investigated this cemetery. Like, I've
Oh, it's
been
by
there. It's,
you.
oh yeah, it's
Oh, I thought this was national news or something. Gonna be.
like 8 minutes away from me is where this happened. This is, yeah, I heard this through a neighbor of, you know what I mean, across town.
Yeah, I just figured maybe she had saw it on TV or something. It was just.
No, this happened in Wisconsin. Yeah.
I'd
So
like
I
to go
don't.
back to the very beginning of the story first.
Okay.
Did you really tell an old lady that I need you to tell me the story again? This time I'll listen.
I didn't say this time I'll listen, but I did
That's what you
say, I'm
implied.
sorry. I heard bits and pieces of that. Can you, because I was, I was thinking about the job, and I was thinking about all the, cutting the measurements for the poles, and I had a lot on my mind at the time. So I wasn't fully focused on her story until I heard the grave thing, and
How many,
lawyers,
how
and
many awesome stories you think you missed because of you doing that?
I don't know. Well, throughout my life, probably a couple, but
Right.
I don't know. I mean, most of the neighbors' stories aren't anywhere as interesting as that one was.
Oh, so you were just ready for the same old, same old.
Right,
And she
right,
hit you
right.
with crazy
Uh,
cemetery
Oh yeah, all of a sudden
soap
she hit me
opera.
with something that I'm super interested in, and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Hmm.
That was worth repeating. So
That's
yeah,
pretty. I
so
didn't know it was illegal to sell a
I,
gravestone, like, or a grave plot. I didn't know that.
apparently it's, you can't sell. I don't know exactly how it
Oh,
goes, but
could
I
she have sold her own?
only if it's a single plot. Like if it's, well, and it had something to do with being in the Christian part uh of the cemetery,
All
because
right,
there's like half of it is Catholic and half of it's whatever. And I think this all happened in the Catholic part.
that kind of
So
explains a little bit more.
there was a little bit more to it. Apparently, it costs more to be buried as a Christian because you have to pay more to be in that part.
Now the poor
Found that,
friend ain't got nowhere to be buried.
right? Right.
How much did she charge her for the?
That's a great question. I don't
You don't
know.
know? Oh
I
man,
know.
what should be
I
like
mean,
5 grand or something?
well, they're anywhere from like, I've seen them anywhere from like $1,500 on up. The
That was
few that at
dirty.
times I've seen them. There was one on Facebook Marketplace for sale. 2 plots together in whatever cemetery.
I just think if she just would have probably said something to her sister at the very beginning, might have been avoided.
Right, right. And it has something to do with getting permission from the entire family
Yeah, so I guess if
before
that's a family
beforehand.
plot, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. So, but needless to say, she did not get the vote of the sister. So that was just a very interesting story that I found out today. I thought I'd share it with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Um, that was the start. Well, that wasn't the start. That was about lunchtime for me today.
Nothing
So what?
else interesting happened the rest of the day?
No, no, just sore backs, sweat, so a little bit of sunburn, and a lot of complaining. That was about it. Little bit of cussing. A little bit of cussing was going on. Yep.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard
Yep.
time believing you would cuss.
And I know I never do that. I never do that.
Do you want to hear my first thing?
I would love to hear your first thing.
Let's break down some famous paranormal hoaxes.
Ooh. Paranormal hoaxes.
Paranormal hoaxes. The first one I got is called the Fox Sisters. And they were from like the 1840s up in upstate New York, I believe it was. And they
Okay.
were psychics. So they would ask the spirits questions and the answer would be knocked back to them. And so, they built a little bit of a following and then they moved to like the bigger city, New York City, and they started drawing huge crowds to these seances. And so
I,
this is the start of the spiritualism movement. And it's these two young ladies, Kate and Maggie Fox is their
yeah.
names.
Yeah. I am a little bit familiar with them, only from the stories that I've dug up for TikTok videos and stuff. But yeah, they apparently they would do seances for the public.
Yep. They were big too. Like, I mean, they were celebrities for a while.
Well, celebrities of their time, yeah.
But in her 50s, Maggie made a public confession that it was all just a hoax. They tied an apple with a string and they could move it up and down to cause the bumps. And they later developed the ability to manipulate their knuckles and toes to produce popping sounds.
Right. But I remember from this when I looked them up that there was how do I put this? There was some drama going on between the sisters. And one of them got more famous than the other and got more money than the other. So the one that didn't get the money is the one saying that it was all a hoax.
I'm starting to see a theme with Tonight and Sisters.
And right. And from what I remember, the one claims that the sister that says it's real is claiming that the other sister she's just mad that she didn't get a bigger cut of the take, and now she's upset and trying to ruin it for me, type of deal. So there's people that believe one half and people that believe the other half, just
Oh,
like every conspiracy theory out there.
always going to be. Because no matter what you say, there's going to be a counter story like
Mm-hmm.
you just had. Um, to me personally, I don't know. I was not around the 1850s and later to see
Well,
what
I was there, but I don't remember it.
you were just a wee lad.
Yeah, yeah, I was pretty young back then.
And you probably
I
were
I
in
think
New
I
York
was
City.
I think I was in my 30s by then.
Now,
So,
the next one is extremely famous and probably not a lot of people realize. I don't know if I
oh,
should say realize.
don't
Not a
say
lot of
it.
people
Don't say it.
agree that it's a hoax.
Don't say it. Don't say
Are
it.
you ready?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Amityville.
Oh, God, I knew you
Ah,
were gonna
yeah.
say it. God damn it. You
Ah,
know how much shit they get for that? I mean, poop. They get for that.
beep.
Uh yeah. Man, that's the whole Ed and Lorraine Warren thing, you know?
Yep. I mean, there
God, I
was a
get
brutal murder in the house. Like, that's fact.
right. Well, I mean, we can talk about Ed and Lorraine Warren like all day. Like
We
I'm a
could.
little familiar with the whole uh the devil on trial story.
Yeah.
Do you know about that one
Yeah,
where
that's the man shot his landlord.
right, right. And he didn't remember any of it, didn't remember doing it. And
Allegedly.
it was after an exorcism with the boy from some sort of, they knew him, and he was there for the exorcism, and
Yeah, he was that
told the
girl's
demon,
boyfriend or something.
he told the demon to get out of that boy, come after me if you want to come after me. And he said, come after me,
Never do
come
that.
to me. And then everybody went nuts. And then Lorraine Warren actually went to the police station shortly after and told them that they need to watch him because she saw visions of him and something to do with a knife. And this was months, like 5 months before anything did happen.
Allegedly.
No, they said this is documented.
I mean, the parents and I think the little brother have all come out and said it was not real.
Well, the little brother is very skeptical. And his story is that Ed and Lorraine Warren, when they were there, they said in front of the kid before he started acting possessed, what he would do if he was possessed. And they said that
Oh
in front of
no.
him. They said, well, you'd be cussing at everybody and using bad language and cursing everybody in the room and
Oh no.
talking poorly to your mother and this and
Are
that.
you having
And
an earthquake in Wisconsin?
no.
Why is your camera jumping all over the place?
Oh, it's just the eye rig is attached to the phone. So
I was getting worried about you there for a second.
no, I'm good.
I was gonna tell you to run.
So, but
Didn't
now
mean to
I have to
interrupt you,
adjust
but
it. Yeah, that's all right. It's
it was
very a
driving me
lot of
crazy.
details, lots of details.
But this is
But
Amityville, though.
Amityville, yeah, all that stuff was after Amityville, after Annabelle, after all of that.
And I'll say, like, I know there was the murder of the Lutz family, or no, sorry, the DeFeos, and then the Lutz moved in, and I could see them having, you know, stuff happening in the house. I don't think the guy murdering his family had anything to do with demons or that kind of stuff. But, the house is creepy. I wouldn't own the windowsills.
Yeah, I got about a 5-inch chunk from the windowsills.
I know you do. But, like, my biggest issue is when somebody really tries to capitalize off of something paranormal. Like, I mean, if I
Well,
caught the greatest ghost photo ever, I would try to sell it. But to write a book and then to turn that into a movie, like, to me, it's hard for me to trust that.
yeah. Well, they made money on. I will say this: they were very good with turning paranormal into cash. Like they made a ton on The Conjuring, you know, uh, and the family's still making money on that today.
Oh, yeah. And the guy that murdered his family, his lawyer said that him and the Lutzes made up the whole thing. And then, you know, you never heard of anything happening in the Amityville house since it sold after the Lutzes.
Right,
Like the current
right.
owners aren't reporting crazy stuff going on in the house.
They want nothing to do with it. They went to the town and the town allowed them to change their address to confuse people from driving by and taking pictures.
I'm sure that would get annoying.
They took out the eye-shaped windows and now they're just square.
Oh, they're just normal windows now.
They're just normal windows now, which is why I have part of the eye-shaped windows.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because they took them out and now, yeah, now they're in pieces. They cut them up and
And I'm sure some podcasts we can delve deep into the Warrens. Like it's pretty. Either like
I'm
them or you
I'm
don't. There's not too many
I'm
middle people.
I'm pretty torn actually. I'm pretty torn. I want so badly to believe, I want so badly to believe in what they're doing and because some of the things that Lorraine has done and Ed for that matter have been just like spot on and just like in my mind very very difficult to fake. But then on the other hand, there's other stuff that kind of make me raise an eyebrow, you
I'm
know.
I'm kind of guessing they started out with good intentions to help people and whatever, and then I'm just guessing they seen how much money they could make with more outlandish stories, and like people that fake shit, they get into that routine where the next thing's got to be bigger and better, and it just don't usually work that way in the paranormal world.
Well, yeah, you're
My from
right.
my
And
experience,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I mean, I don't know how long you got to be in it before something like that happens, but I got a feeling it it's more of, I don't want to say luck, but
that makes sense.
it's more being in the right place at the right time than it is
Definitely,
how long you've been doing it. You know what I mean?
and making sure the
Um,
camera's pointed in the right damn direction.
Oh, that is the worst. There's so much missed evidence just by stuff that happens. And then you sound like an asshole because you're like,
Right?
oh, I just saw this big thing happen over here, but it was just off a camera. And everybody's like, sure you
You're
did.
like,
Sure
I
you
caught
did.
a ghost and it was this big.
Yep. Yep. Sounds like a fish story. It's this big. So,
Exactly.
but I mean, you could be like completely convinced that something happened or moved and whatever. And I'm not going to say I haven't done it. I have totally told somebody about something that just happened off screen. But the next statement is, I know nobody's going to believe me anyway, but I
Oh
just
yeah.
had to say it, you know? So
It's crazy how much stuff happens off camera. It's almost like they can tell when they're being filmed.
I always wondered that. I always wondered, can they tell when they're being filmed? And I think I believe they do. I believe that we're only allowed. Here's something, just a slightly off topic. What if, I know you like my what ifs, what if they're not allowed to tell us certain things? What if they're punished somehow for uh,
Like,
materializing in front of us? Like that, they're not supposed to do that. Like that's why it doesn't happen all that often. Because when they do, they get in trouble. Like
it's
I often
interesting.
thought about that. Like what happens if, because it's so rare, you'd think it would happen more often.
Right. If there's a
So
billion dead people around, ghosts, I should
right,
say.
you'd think everybody would be able to see him. You know that I don't know,
I mean,
but
that's a good thought, actually.
because I've often asked about heaven and hell during my portal sessions, and I love the answers I get. You know, some of them are pretty creepy, but it's like as soon as I get a creepy or interesting response, then that voice disappears and I never hear that voice again.
Oh shit, they got dealt
So it's
with.
like, yeah, I'm like, what's going on? Like, where did Kevin go? He was just talking to me about heaven and then he just disappears. Nothing to be heard from him the rest of the night. And it makes me wonder, are they not allowed to tell us certain things, and do they get in trouble for doing it? Is it a slap on the wrist? Is it banishment? I mean, what could be a punishment, and who do the punishing?
I mean, it's one of two things. It's what you're saying, or ghosts really like to screw with people.
Who
The only two
knows?
plausible answers.
We'll all find out one day.
Yep, allegedly.
Yep. Oh no. Well, either that or we'll fall asleep for eternity and not know any better.
You ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready.
1995.
Oh, that was a good year.
Alien
I
autopsy.
oh I was gonna say I got in a lot of trouble in 1995.
What'd you get in trouble for in 95?
Let's see, 95. No, I take it back. It wasn't 95. Yes, it was 95. Uh, I got in some trouble with the law. Spent a little time uh in a involuntary vacation. You know,
Damn, no, I didn't
just
know
a
that.
little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. just for juvenile stuff,
Did you ever
Had to
watch Alien Autopsy while you were in there?
not while I was in there, no. But here's something you might not know, that there's two alien autopsy videos.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about the same one, he made two. Same guy.
One was made in a barn, and the other was made, I believe, in a basement. But they actually turned out both to be not true.
I
Uh,
thought it was pretty obvious from watching the first one that it was fake.
well, that one that's black and white was actually started off as color. And if anybody's watching, the one I'm talking about is the one you're thinking of. If you've ever seen the Alien Autopsy, it's the one with poor lighting, and it's the one you're thinking of. He's
It
laying
was
on
on
the
Fox.
table.
Fox had it after like X Files or something.
Oh, maybe if you talk real nice to Ray, maybe he'll put in a little picture or something before he.
Maybe. I mean, that's probably copyrighted.
I'm pretty sure you can put a picture up.
We'll
But
find out.
anyway, but anyway, but yeah, that one is a hoax for sure. The guy who filmed it, and it's kind of funny that I know anything about this. I should just let you talk about it. You should tell us about it.
It's fake.
Oh, good one.
Man of
It's
little words. Man of few
the
words.
the guy who filmed it as a fake. Like, he had no intention of it being a thing, like being a real thing. He filmed it thinking everybody would think it's fake. And that's why, and the when he brought it to, I forget who the hell he brought it to, but the guy thought it was real. The first guy that saw it thought it was real. And then he saw the colored hands were different than the face. Like, the face was all alien and gray or green or whatever, and then the hands were normal color.
It's a sign.
And and then he called bullshit on it, and he's like, "Wait a minute." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I did it in a barn down the street." He never tried to say it was real.
And he made
And
money
then,
off that. You know he did.
oh yeah, and then they made another one that was way more real, but he still never said that it was a real thing. Like, he just filmed it, whether to use it for a film or whatever. And that's what I remember from it. I might be way off, but
You're
that's what I
right on.
remember.
I'll
Am
accept
I?
it. Yeah,
I'll accept it. All right, sweet.
You
Sweet.
ready
That's
for the
all I
next
need
one?
to know. Yeah.
The surgeon's photo of the Loch Ness Monster. Now, this is the old one, 1934, that shows just the part of the back and then the crane looking thing sticking up out of the water. Yeah.
So,
Like, that's the most famous Loch Ness
right.
Monster. And then, let's see, what's it say? In 1994 is when it came out that it was just a hoax. It was a toy. It was a toy model on the back of a toy submarine. His
Oh,
93-year-old stepson confessed to building the model for his father. Like, that's a
so,
long time to hold on to a secret. Damn.
but isn't like the whole story of Loch Ness built off of that one picture?
I mean, there's stories from before the picture, but in terms of what we know today, like that pretty much jump started it. Yes.
Because, whenever you think of Loch Ness, like, in my mind, I see that picture.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I hear the term Loch Ness monster, I
I'll
see
try to
that
throw it
picture in
up
my brain.
so everybody knows what I'm talking about. And when they recreated it, I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously a fake. I loved that photo when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, they found Nessie. Look at this. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was 94 when they determined it was a hoax.
Hmm. Yeah, I was never like intrigued by Loch Ness. I always thought it was, and I'm not saying you're not saying Loch Ness is a fake. You're saying the picture is a fake,
Yeah,
is a
I'm saying the
hoax.
picture is fake.
Yeah. because I mean, I'm not one to totally discredit everything with Loch Ness Monster, but because there still could be something to it.
I
There's,
mean, they're
I mean,
seeing something there. I don't know what it is, but they're
I don't know.
definitely a lot of people have seen a lot of somethings.
Did you hear that now they're speaking of water creatures, they're trying to say that there is an ocean like miles and miles underground,
There is. It's huge.
and apparently it's like 3 times the amount of water on Earth's surface ocean.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this on my live the other day.
Where yeah,
Yeah, we were
and
talking
and
about the flood from the Bible.
and what kind of creatures could be in that?
Hopefully, nothing
You
crazy.
know, well, I mean, we don't have to talk about Megalodon, but I kind of want to. Megalodon. What are your thoughts on Megalodon, real quick?
Man, I was talking and I was muted. I didn't even know it. Megalodon, I'm guessing, probably doesn't exist anymore, but I'm not gonna test that theory out anytime soon.
What about you saw the dude that showed the aerial footage from the ocean, and it quite obviously looks like a shark,
Yeah.
a big black mass, and then he showed the same scale of a school bus, and it was like 40 feet longer than the school bus, or 30 feet longer than the school bus, or something like crazy like that. So this thing is 70 feet long.
Oh, it's huge. Have you ever seen one next to like a great white? Like they just dwarf a great white. Probably take a great white and a swallow. Wouldn't even need to bite them.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I I like to think that, I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. But I some part of me believes that megalodon exists. And I still don't have a megalodon tooth. I've been trying to get one for a while. So any of y'all listening have a megalodon tooth? You want to send it to me? Hit me up. I'm definitely interested in it. Uh, I want a full one though, a full tooth.
I mean, to me, the ocean's so vast and deep. Like we have no idea what's really down there.
Right.
Can it support something that size? I don't know. It's gonna have to eat a lot of whales.
I mean, megalodon would qualify under paranormal, wouldn't it?
I mean, if it was around, if we're talking about it still existing, it would be,
Well,
I
I
would
want
say, a
it to.
cryptid.
It is because I
Why?
say so. How about that?
Oh, I thought you wanted it to be real. Why would you want a megalodon out there swimming around eating?
I just think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating and scary and creepy, and I love that stuff.
I mean, how long did we not really know that there were giant squids in the ocean? You know, no
Right? Forever.
stories for centuries about them, and science
Forever.
is like, no, 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 that's not possible.
Right.
And then,
A- And then,
and then,
and then,
I'd hate to be the scientist that figures out megalodon's still alive, though, because you know that's going to be a rough day.
anyway, I know there's a lot of people that are going to say that's bullshit, but
It might be. It might
a lot
not
of
be too.
convincing, a lot of convincing divers are saying they've seen stuff. So
Well, I'm sure
who
there's big
knows?
ass animals down there. I just don't know if, like, imagine a shark between the megalodon and the great white that's still alive. Like, that
Hmm.
could sustain a lot easier in the ocean and still be horrendously massive shark.
So what's next on your list?
You want to move off hoaxes?
Oh, we can do another one if you want.
No, I think I want to move on.
You think you want to move on? Okay.
Yeah, because I know this one will be spicy for you. We're going to get into an area called the ethics of paranormal investigations.
Oh, you mean something most people have no idea what are?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Now I know this brings out something in you. I know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
It
probably
def
guilty of doing stupid things myself. Not gonna lie. But
yeah.
let's tap into like like respecting the deceased, even if like I don't believe ghosts are dead people, but I'm still respectful just in case I'm wrong. Just in case I am talking to somebody's grandma, I don't
Hmm.
want to be a dick about it. So I love
Which
grandmas, they're cool.
which is commendable. It is commendable,
Thank you, thank
especially
you.
since you don't believe. Uh,
Yes.
and to me, paranormal ethics goes so much deeper than that.
Oh yeah, but we're just baby steps, baby steps.
And this is something like I could do a whole seminar on just paranormal ethics. And there I could write a guest list of everybody that should be there. You know what I'm saying? There's hundreds of people that I know that have no ethics and they have no idea. They're very disrespectful. And it's even more than just a respect thing. It's, oh God, I don't know how to put it. Like, for instance, here, I almost whooped the shit out of a guy that was on my team. And I'm pissed at myself for even letting him on the team. This guy claimed to be a medium. Okay.
All right.
And he used to claim that he had his best friend was a demon. Okay. And that just by that statement alone intrigued me. Okay. I was intrigued by it. I can't necessarily say I believed him,
You
but
didn't believe him in a little bit.
I wanted to test out what he would do and how he would act and all
Right.
this.
How'd that go?
So I made the mistake of letting him come on a private investigation with us. And
Oh wow.
he was doing fine, and I'm like, he's whispering stuff into my ear that he's seeing and hearing and whatever. And he's saying that there was something evil in the house. And I mean, that part I believe because of what, and I can't go into details because it was a private investigation, but because of who lived there and what was happening, I do believe there was something evil there. So there was something to what he was saying. That being said, we were ending the night. Well, we had about an hour or two left, and the clients came back. They came back to the house because
Right.
we asked them to leave for a little while.
Right.
And they came back, and one of the people that lived there was a 12 or 13-year-old daughter of the mom that lived there.
Oh no.
And she now keep in mind she was deadly terrified, just terrified of a demonic creature that was visiting her in her own home.
Oh no. What did this
And
guy do?
this guy, I'm talking to her and I'm saying, hey, you shouldn't have to worry too much, blah, blah, blah. We're here to help, that type of thing. I'm being very supportive and to her and the mom, I'm telling them both this at the same time. And I'm like, we're here to help and we're here to do the very best we can to help get rid of this entity. And we're here to find out what it is and how to take care of it. We need to find out what it is before we do anything because you do the wrong thing, you can make things worse. And you guys are trying to live here. So he barges into the conversation and says, oh, yeah, that demonic thing you're looking for, it's up in your room right now.
Oh my God. No, he didn't.
Oh my God. I'm
No,
like,
he didn't.
dude, come here. Come here. And I kind of grabbed him by his shirt and I pulled him outside, out to the garage. And I'm like, I had a few choice words for him, and it ended up with him leaving. And he was twice as my size. He was a huge dude. I'm like, you better leave. And I
That's
was
just no common
pissed.
sense there.
And I'm like,
Why would
get
you
the hell
do
out of
that?
here. I don't ever want to see you again. Get out of here. What I do? What I do? Hey, you told me to tell. No. First of all, you're too stupid to work with me. Second of all, you have no respect for family values, much less, anything going on in the paranormal field. You have no right, no business doing what you're doing, and you definitely have no business being on my team. So kicked him out, never saw him again. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
no ethics whatsoever.
That's crazy.
And and that's not the only time stuff like that's happened. It happens more than you'd think.
You need to pick better people to investigate with.
Well, it's not always people that this was the only one that I had
Oh, okay.
interested in,
I
auditioning
got
for
you.
my team. You know what I mean?
Audition failed.
Yes, failed big time. Failed
All
the
right.
audition.
All right. Now let me ask you about like this is something that really bothers me, and I don't know if it's just stupid on my part or if there's something to it, but like I cannot stand when a famous person dies and you see a whole bunch of people trying to contact them like the same day, if not the next day. Like that
Yeah,
really irritates the shit out of me.
that's just wrong. It's different. Like, how do I put it? It's disrespectful
Extremely.
because you need to let the family mourn. You can't just, oh, I can get a lot of views if I contact, so and so who just passed away. Now, to me, that falls under the whole paranormal ethics, that we were just talking
Definitely.
about.
I think
That
so.
is that is something that shouldn't be done out of respect. And again, I know that I'm throwing that word around quite a bit, respect, but it's it's not respect. uh, For me, it's more respect for the families,
Yeah, that's
those
how I
left
look at it.
those left behind.
Now, if they come up and they're like, this was my brother or whatever, and they ask you questions, then I don't have any problem with it. But for like the ones that are just doing it for clout, just to get
Mhm.
views, like that's such a, I don't even know the word, just so selfish to me. Like doesn't
Right.
belong in our field at all.
But I will say on the flip side of the coin, there are circumstances that could call for it. And I'm not talking about those who are online doing spirit box sessions or portal sessions. Um, I'm talking about like the psychics that are called in to help find a missing person,
Right.
and that missing person ends up being deceased, and somehow they get visions of that, and parts of the story that are missing.
But they're being
That
asked at that point, in my opinion.
right, they're being asked to help, and that is completely different. That is, to me, that's a-okay with me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like I said, if the family comes to you and asks some questions, I've got no
Hmm.
problem with that because they're obviously they need some kind of closure that they're not getting.
Right. And I get it because people watch it. The people that do that, they know that they're going to get people watching, which is why they do it, obviously.
Probably a
They're,
million views.
like, if somebody famous passed away, like, who's the last famous person that you know of that passed away?
OJ.
OJ Simpson. Okay. If somebody said, "Hey, I'm talking to OJ on my spirit box," you're almost guaranteed I'm going to show up and listen. And it's not, but now that I said that, I feel like even listening to it is disrespectful. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
wouldn't be able to do it.
I'd feel guilty about listening to it, knowing that it's probably bullshit, and the family is gonna find out about it and they're gonna be upset, and it's gonna cause them more heartache. You know what I mean? Like, that part of it
And you know that
gets to
that
me.
person that's in trouble is going to say something stupid like, "Well, I was just trying to bring the family closure." It's like, no, you weren't.
No,
You
you
were
were
trying to
not.
make a dime off of that famous person dying and the pain of their loved ones.
Well, and dare I say, I remember someone we all know when they passed away. Uh, a lot of people all of a sudden became his best friends. Came out of the woodwork, and everybody was his best friend. And
Yep.
they miss him, and they can't live without him. Really? Did he even like you? Did he know you? You know, and using his profile picture for your profile picture, I'm like, enough's enough. I mean, you know,
People
let
be
him
weird,
rest.
man. People be
Let
weird.
him, let him rest. Enough's enough.
I agree.
So, you know who I'm talking. But
Oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
you know, anyway, moving on.
Now, like, we're moving on, but still, we're in the ethics side of things.
Okay.
Let me. You got a lot more experience, obviously, than I've got with this, but I've watched a few investigations where, like, on the spirit portal, you hear like, leave me alone. They don't seem to want to talk. Like, do you
Hmm.
think still pushing that is bordering on an unethical thing? Like, how do
If
you
you're
handle that?
pushing how I handle that, because I've heard it before. I've heard leave us alone. I've heard shut this off. Now, when I'm in a location and I use, and let's say, because this, and one particular comes to mind, I was doing a private investigation and I had the spirit box. This is shortly after the SB11 came out. So you're looking at like, I don't know, maybe it was 2016, maybe.
All right.
I was in this house. It was a multi-level house. It was a farmhouse. And we got some pretty damn good evidence from that house. I want to say that. Uh, like for instance, I said, hey, something just touched my head. And then later on, when we listened back to it, um, there was a very clear Class A EVP that said, "Look up." Right when I said something just touched my head, I was walking in a room, like it was one of the bedrooms. I walked in the bedroom and I said something just touched my head, and immediately EVP, look up.
Did you
And
look
I'm
up?
like, no, I didn't look up because I didn't hear it till the next day when I
Oh,
was listening to it. But I'm like, fuck,
what was up
damn
there?
it. I don't know. But yeah, that was a good one. But anyway, what were we talking about again?
Whether you would stop if they told you to stop.
Oh, I was in the attic and I had the spirit box going, and I asked, "Does this machine irritate you?" And it quite clearly said yes, and then shut it off, like turn it off. And I thought about it for a second, and I really wanted to keep it going because I was getting interaction.
Right. That's a normal reaction to that.
But I did go and turn it off, and I said, I did ask for one more response, and I said, "Can you just say goodbye then?" And I got nothing. So I just
They're
shut it.
done with you.
Yeah, I just shut it off, and that was it for that particular time period. So I do listen. I take requests from the spirit realm. If they tell me they want something, like Adam is very demanding. He likes particular music. I play music for him. And we have an understanding. Um, and if you don't know who Adam is, I'm not going to explain it. Go watch my TikToks. But anyway,
He's a bastard.
uh, he can be. He can be. So to answer your question, yeah, I definitely do respect their wishes when it comes to that for the most part. Now, if you're dealing with something, now I'm going to take it a step further and say, and if you're dealing with something that was never human, wink, wink, uh, fuck them. They get what's coming to them.
They
They're
get what's
nasty.
coming to him, he says.
Yep, they're nasty. They're evil. And I think they're the only way. Like, I think being nasty to a demonic entity is a form of self defense.
Makes sense. Now, before we leave the ethics side of things, I do
Mm-hmm.
know, and I know you're going to agree with this statement, but if you make a deal with whatever you're talking to and you say, if you do this, I will leave you alone, and they do it, leave them the fuck alone.
Uh-huh. If you make a deal, if you make a deal, you have to keep up your end of the bargain.
Yeah,
Because there's often times where I'll see people, and even people I know, even people I like, and they'll do this. They'll say, "Well, if you make this REM pod go off, we'll leave." And they're just trying to goad them into doing something,
yep.
and then they do it. And then what do they say? What's the next thing that they say out of their mouth?
Do it again.
Can we do it again?
Yep,
You ungrateful bastards. You just
yep.
got a gift from a supernatural being, and you want to make them do a song and dance for you? Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, they had no
You know,
intention of holding up their end of the
you
bargain.
just made a deal. Honor your damn deal. You know, do what you say you're going to do. You think for 1 second that other spirits that are around don't see you being an ass? You think they don't understand what you're up to and what you're all about? They're not going to mess with you. They're not going to participate in your shenanigans. You know, they know that you don't keep your word. You know, word gets around, you know. You think ghosts don't talk to each other? They do. They do.
They got that ghost line. Maybe they're all
Anyway,
interconnected like mushrooms.
I don't want to get too heated over one subject, but that
Oh, I
that
knew you'd agree
one
with me on that one.
that one really gets me. It really gets me.
Now, I know you got a game you want to play, and we're almost to that point.
Yeah, how much time do we have left?
We're just a little under an hour right now. But let
Oh,
me let me do this with you.
all right. Well, we could save the game for next week if you want.
I mean, to see how long this takes. What this is called is story time.
Story time.
Yep. Like what I'd like to hear on this story time, and I'll start, is when you're young, and this ain't true for everybody, for most people when they're young and they have a dealing with the supernatural, it's terrifying. I mean, there's some kids out there that it don't bother them. They already
Hmm.
know what's going on. But
Hmm.
if you ain't had that kind of talk and shit just happens, it's terrifying. You have no idea. So that's what story time is this time. So I'll tell you about my earliest paranormal experience that I can remember. I was probably six-ish. And this, like, it's so much different now that I'm older from when I was younger and I would see these things. But I went to my grandmother's house, and you're talking a little town in Kansas, and the house was old as shit, made of like, looked like limestone. I don't know. But I don't know why this is my earliest memory of this, but I was going over there to stay the night. My uncles aren't much older than I am. So I was going to stay in one of my uncle's rooms, and my sister was staying with my aunt in her room. And I thought it was weird because before I went to bed, he says, "If you see anything, wake me up." I had no idea what he meant by that. No idea. So
I
I
bet
go
you
in there.
found out though.
Oh, fuck. Dude. And this is verifiable from a couple sources, so you can check me out. But so I go to bed, and I don't remember much about anything like laying down, all that shit. I don't remember none of that. All I remember is all of a sudden I hear this weird ass noise, and it's like a snore mixed with somebody like suffocating. It was horrifying. No idea what it was, but it was horrifying. So I barely opened my eyes, trying to just look around. And this is going to sound so weird, but there was a glowing ass skeleton standing next to the bed, just fucking staring at me. And you could tell it was him or it making this noise because even though he was skeleton looking, you could tell he's like breathing, like the way he was just standing there and like this. And I think I passed out for a minute. I don't remember.
Okay.
And next thing I know, I'm hearing that noise again, and I open my eyes just tiny bit, and he's still standing there. So I start pinching my uncle, like trying not to move, because I didn't want the shit to know I was awake. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm poking him with my finger, all this, and I must have passed out again. And then next thing I know, I'm opening my eyes a little bit, and it's walking out of the room. I can see like the back of it, and it just leaves the room. And I don't know if I passed out again from the fear or just fell asleep, but I wake up and it's morning time. And so I go into my grandmother's kitchen where her and my uncle were at. And he's like, "Hey man, how'd you sleep?" And I just started crying, like full
Wow.
on 6-year-old crying. And I remember I was punching him. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Look, you told me if anything was happening or if I saw anything to wake you up."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "I saw this glowy skeleton looking thing and I was pinching you and poking you." And he says, and this is the horrifying part that probably made me afraid of the dark. He says, I went and stayed at my buddy's house after you fell asleep. So to this day, I have no fucking clue what was in that bed with me.
So
And
who were
then
you pinching?
I don't know. I have no idea. It
Damn.
was whatever was next to me was real. Like I could feel skin. I was poking and pushing. And then all this commotion happens, and my sister and my aunt come out of their bedroom. And they're like, what's going on, Ray? Because I was hysterical. Like I was terrified. And so I start telling them the story, and they're like, no shit. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, this thing opened the door last night and looked in at us, and it looked like a glowy skeleton thing, and then just closed the door, and they heard it walking down the hall. And then I get more mad because I'm like, you saw this thing, heard it walk down the hall to where I'm at, and you didn't come make sure my ass was alive. Like, that is my first paranormal experience, and it's obviously stuck with me. Like, that
Wow.
was so horrifying. That was, I know I've told that story on my TikTok live before, but that story is what fucked my whole
Wow.
world up when I was a kid.
Wow. So that's a kick-ass story, actually. I do have
Verifiable.
a few. I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
One, when you say glowing skeleton, now in my mind, I'm picturing like, those glow in the dark Walgreens skeletons that glows in the dark. But then on the other hand, it could be like the light behind the Virgin Mary, like the big aura, behind her that everybody pictures. Like, was it like a glowing light behind the skeleton, or was it
No, it was
neon?
glowing
So the bones were
itself.
glowing.
I don't remember
It,
seeing bones like the only way I can explain it is a skeleton looking thing, but I don't remember it looking like it looks solid, but like almost like you could see bones. I
so
wish
it
I could
was
explain it better. And it was
like
glowing like this light behind me.
a flesh covered
Skeleton, yeah.
skeleton.
I know that sounds weird, but yeah, that's a good way to explain it. But I
No,
mean, like
it's
this
I
light
know.
behind me is probably as bright as what it was glowing.
Picture like a skeleton just covered in skin with no muscle, and
Yes,
like
that's a good way
just
to put it.
skin over the skeleton. You can see all the ribs and the poking through the skin and all that. It's terrifying to think about.
It
But
was
yeah, I get
horrifying.
it.
And to
I
this
get it.
day, I am 46, 45 years old now, about to be 46. To this day, if I'm staying somewhere at somebody's house and they start snoring, I will go wake your ass up. I like it. I cannot sleep if somebody, and it's a certain snore, like somebody just, whatever, that don't bother me. But if like they
Uh-huh.
start doing this weird shit that gets close to that, it triggers something in me and I wake them up. I'll pinch them, I'll punch them, I don't care. Like
So
that
this
fight or
is
flight shit gets crazy.
so this is why I wasn't invited to sleep at your house. I had to go to the hotel when I was in Nebraska.
That might be part of it. I have no problem pinching my wife's nose if she's snoring. It bothers me that bad to this day.
Yeah. I have been told several times that I snore, and I don't know.
I recorded my wife one time because
It's
she didn't believe me. Ask her.
it's weird because my dogs never complain about it. Never. Never.
Never.
Never once have any of my dogs ever complained about my snoring.
That's funny.
Weird. It's
I
weird.
got a couple other stories saving for the next story time podcast, but I didn't know if you had anything like that. Like I don't know how you were as a kid. Did the paranormal stuff around you not bother you that bad?
It 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 I didn't have a whole lot as a little kid, believe it or not. I only had I had a reoccurring spirit named Philip, which that story.
Right.
But that's it. And Philip wasn't scary. He wasn't I didn't have a scary paranormal experience until many years later when I actually became a quote unquote investigator, you know?
Right. Was that the head by you?
Oh, that no, that was probably the second most terrifying thing to ever happen to me
Is the
was
first
the
thing the
floating.
thing you don't talk about?
No, the first thing, no. I've had lots of well, anytime, like the first time I heard my name come through the spirit box was terrifying for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and and it was through an SB7. No, it was through a. Oh my God, I'm dating myself here. It was through a rigged Radio Shack box.
Oh, the old style.
Yes, yes, and that's. I mean, that's how far I go back. But yeah, that terrified me. Like I did not expect that to happen. And the guy, I wasn't talking into the box at the time. This was somebody else. This was before I even had ever had one. Um, but he said, "Who do you want to talk to? Who here? Who here? Who here do you want to talk to?"
And you hear Brandon.
And you hear Brandon, like clear. When I say clear, I mean like you could not mistake it for anything other than Brandon.
Did oh hell no go through your head?
Yes, yes. Like I wanted to leave. Like I wanted to get out of there. And
Oh,
that
really?
and that sounds really dumb coming from me, but at the time, like the first time you hear it, it's like this magic. Like you realize, like, yeah, okay, ghosts could be real. You realize the first time that you realize ghosts are real, life changing. It is life changing. I don't care what anybody says, how macho somebody acts. The first time is pretty overwhelming.
I bet I got lucky because I'd hear my name on the boxes before I even started investigating. Like I'd see it in the lives. So the
Yeah.
first time it wasn't that scary for me.
Yeah.
It's weird the first time you hear something clear in the spirit box because, like you said, it's all of a sudden it's real. You're like,
I
crap, this
mean,
ain't a show. I mean, this ain't a movie.
no, there was no investigations online back then.
Well, I
It
mean, I'm
was
not that old.
this is before
The internet.
being a ghost hunter was cool. Back when I started, like you were like shunned by the public if
Being a
you were
ghost
a
hunter is cool
paranormal
now.
investigator. Oh yeah, apparently it's cool now. That's why there's uh 200 new ones a day coming on to
That's no lie.
TikTok and YouTube, and then
All doing the same thing.
yeah, and they get in good with one person who's been around for a few months, and then that's all you see is, oh, follow my friend so they can go live. I'm like, oh, geez, so they can be one of the 3,000 others that go live. Awesome.
All
Why
doing the
don't you
same
try
thing in the
this?
same buildings.
Why don't you try getting your own damn followers and doing it the hard way like we all had to do? We didn't have people, oh, go follow Real Ghost Hunter 1 because he wants to go live. No. Matter of fact, I didn't even go live until I had 6,000 followers.
I went live right when I hit 1,000, but I
I
was
had
having an
six.
investigation.
I had 6,000 followers before I even went live, and because I was scared to, I was intimidated. I
I
didn't
got
want to
an
do it.
I got an experiment I'd like to do with some paranormal investigators.
Oh, like what?
I'm going to need a Christian investigator, a Hindu investigator, a Muslim investigator, different religion investigators, and a couple atheists if I can get you to investigate. And I want them to ask specific questions to their religion, all going to the same place if we can, and see if they get responses based off their religion or if, like, they all get the same response. I've been curious about how much our beliefs play into the environment that we investigate.
Yeah, like that's a good question. Like, do we attract like-minded spirits?
Do we attract or do we, what's the word I'm looking for, when you make something with your mind?
Do you manifest them?
Do you manifest the spirits when you go to investigate?
Hmm.
Because I've said on my lives, you've probably heard me say, you can make any place haunted. And I truly believe that with your intention. I think our brains are way more powerful than we realize in terms of acting outside of our physical realm.
I guess I don't know if I ever thought about making a place haunted. I know, I know for in my mind it's fact. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say I know for fact that spirits will follow us around. And being who, well, being who I am, I know because Hey, I know me. I know me pretty well.
Do you?
Um, yeah, yeah, more than I want to talk about. But they definitely like I'll have the same spirits come with me to different places. So it's very hard for me to go to a place and say it's not haunted. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I truly
Because
believe the more you investigate a place, the more haunted that shit gets.
without
It's weird.
without a doubt. The floating head place, the floating head place.
Yep.
I would investigate there for what 2-3 times a week for the public tours and the
Right.
public investigations. And then if I didn't go there for like let's say 3 weeks or a month, it would be like starting over.
Yeah, that's
Like
how the fire hall is for me.
I'd have to gain their trust all over again, and some of them are the same spirit, but it's almost like they forget who you are after a month.
Oh,
It's
that's
so
interesting.
weird. Yeah.
Do you think they get their memory erased every day?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know that if they see you
That would
a few
suck.
times a week, they'll still remember you. That much I
So
know.
maybe they get like a month before it erases.
Well, like I'm quite sure that if I went to that place again, there's two spirits that I know for sure would probably if they're there, would know me. And one is Loretta. She either jumped or got pushed off a balcony to her death. She was a lady of the night, let's say. And a dude that we called Crazy Chris.
Oh, crazy
And
Chris.
Crazy Chris. And he liked it when I called him Crazy Chris because he would act up. But he would do like I've never before and never since have I had a spirit that would react on cue when I
Really?
asked them to do something. Like it was the crowds that I would bring in there were amazing. And I think that's part of the reason that I got so addicted to it was because every night it was happening and I could make things happen and like I could ask them to do something and they do it. It was crazy, which
That would
I
be
called him
fun.
Crazy Chris.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I know I don't investigate near as much as I used to. And going back to the fire hall, it's like the last time I went after a long break, nothing happened. Like it didn't
Yeah.
even feel the same there.
Right. But if you go back and you go back several times, that feeling will come back. Like
Oh, I'm sure it will.
it's almost like I don't want to say they're pissed at you for avoiding them, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like they don't respect you anymore because you were their friend for a while and then you said, F you, I'm not coming around for a while
Just
and they
take it
hold a
as you're
grudge.
using
Like
them.
I think they hold a grudge. I really do. I really think some of them
That
hold
makes
a
sense.
grudge.
Don't hold a grudge.
Yeah, and I take that shit personally. Like, hey,
That-
I'm not just, I know time, who knows? Maybe a month for us is a day for them. Maybe it's 5 years. Who knows?
Who knows?
But anyway, enough
Well,
about me.
that was
Enough
fun.
about me. Yeah.
We're over the hour. Do you want to try your game, or you want to save it for next podcast?
Well, I mentioned it in the beginning. Do you guys want to try the game? Should we try the game? You want to do the game? You want to play a game? I want to play a game. All right. Let's play the game. We'll see. You might think it's dumb. You might think it's dumb. Something I came up with. I'm calling it Who Said It? I know, original, right?
Who
Who
said it?
said it? Now, I'm going to give you a quote and I'm going to have Ray try to guess and you guys can play along. The game is Who Said It? I'm going to give you a quote and you have to tell us who said it. And your choices are Zach Bagans, Kanye West, or Donald Trump. Who said it?
This is gonna be crazy.
So this is just something that came into my mind last week. And I'm like, you know what? I think that would be fun. So let's see. I don't know if I want to do obvious ones right away. There's a few obvious ones, but there were some that are, well,
Let's do this.
I was told I have a demonic attachment. They make me sick. They make me agitated.
Zach.
Who said it?
I'm gonna
Yes,
go with
Zach.
Zach.
Yes, Zach Bagans. That was an easy one. That was an easy one. Um, all right. I'm not the most normal type of person there is.
Jesus Christ.
Now
Um,
that could go for all three. You
that
know,
could go for all of them.
I could see all three saying that.
I'm gonna go with Trump though.
I'm not the most normal type of person there is.
I'm gonna go Trump.
Nope, that was Zach again.
God dang it, Zach, asshole.
Okay. Here's
I don't think I'm gonna do very good at this.
I don't know who real. Here's the quote. I don't know who Lil Jon is. I really don't.
Is that Kanye? That better not be Kanye.
Donald Trump.
Okay, good. You never know with Kanye. He's weird.
Right?
How does Trump not know who Lil Jon is?
I don't know. I don't Okay. This is an easy quote. All right. And well, you're gonna think
I'm like one for
kids
two.
kids see ghosts. That's the quote. Kids
No, I'm
see
going
ghosts.
Zach on that one. Baggins.
Kids see ghosts.
Don't tell me that's Kanye.
It's fucking Kanye West.
Oh, I mean,
It's even the title of one of his songs, apparently.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to much Kanye.
Let's see.
I'm not doing so good.
Okay. It just shows when you get good ratings, you can say anything.
Oh, that's definitely Trump.
Are you sure?
I would think so. I don't know. Don't tell me it's Baggins again.
It just shows when you get good ratings, you can say anything. Yes, it's Donald Trump.
Okay, good. See, that sounds like something he would have said after his little
I
show that he had.
see. I try to read it with an open mind, and I think totally Zach Bagans could say that.
I could see him saying that. That's why I wasn't sure after you
That's
gave me
why
that
I'm
look.
like, oh, maybe. All right, let's see. Rule number 1: no gum. Rule number 1: no gum.
God, that sounds like such a prima donna thing. I'm going to go with Zach on that one.
You're right. It is Zach Bagans, but I wholeheartedly agree with that. Wholeheartedly.
Why do you agree? What'd you got against gum?
It's not. It's during an investigation. If you got somebody chewing gum, your recorder
well,
is
that
going to
makes
pick
sense.
that up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Your recorder is going to pick it up, and
I
it's going
liked
to
how it
cause
was in my
interference.
head, though. Like in my head, he was just being an asshole. Rule number 1, if you're going to be on my TV show, is no gum.
Right? This is just a funny quote. We're not here for beauty. We're here for darkness. I can think of a TikTok group that sounds like they would say that.
I'm going to go with Baggins again.
Yep, it's Zach Bagans.
All right. That definitely sounded like him.
Yeah. All right. All right. Here's one. All right. This one might be obvious, might not. Believe me, I know ghosts. Believe me, I know ghosts.
I want to say Baggins, but it's probably going to be Kanye.
Donald Trump.
Oh my God, what the hell was he even talking about?
Donald Trump. Yep.
He knows
Yep.
ghosts.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to get Donald Trump to come on the podcast.
Wait till you hear this. Back in 2017, President at the time, President Trump, picked a federal judge who was a paranormal investigator.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Brett Talley is his name.
It wasn't Zach Baggins.
No, but I can totally see that happening.
Could you imagine?
Do you want to see a picture of the guy?
All right.
There's the paranormal investigator that Donald Trump hired.
Why does he look like Frankenstein?
You think he looks like Frankenstein?
Well, Frankenstein's monster.
But anyway, so I threw you for a loop. I think we've got enough of that for this time around, but there's always more of that. I've got plenty more.
I'm
so
gonna
we
come
can
up with
do
some next time for you.
Okay. Yeah. Are you going to do some different names, or are you going to use the
I
same
don't know.
ones?
I'm gonna do some different names.
Okay.
Maybe I'll use some people on the TikTok paranormal field.
Those of you who are listening and watching on YouTube or listening or whatever, go to YouTube, comment in the comment section whether you liked the game or not. We can do it again if you like it. Just trying something new, something a little fun. I thought it was fun. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it for a whole nother half hour, but we're running out of time for this one.
Yeah.
So, do you got anything else you want to add before we shut her down?
No, just everybody stay safe, stay beautiful, stay in school, don't do drugs.
Take risks, because if you don't fuck around, you'll never find out. Until next time. See ya.
Later. That was hilarious.